Mark Out Mania. Mark Out Mania. Reviews and yelling. Mark Out Mania.
Hola amigos and welcome to Mark Out Mania. In today's episode I'll be counting down my top 10 singles from the year 1977. Yowza! But before we get to that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Texan Spaniard, and check out our Tumblr page at markoutmania.tumblr.com. With that out of the way, let's get to it. Music. So, I've done two top 10 singles countdowns in the past for 1975 and 1976. Just not in this Mark Out Mania podcast form. The basic setup is I look at the Billboard Top 100 singles for a year, listen to all the songs, come up with a top 20, 25, list out of that, wait a week or two, then re-listen to those top 20, 25 songs, and come up with my top 10 list from the re-listen. There is nothing scientific about this process. It all boils down to what songs I like the most. So that's it, For this countdown, I went through the process for the year 1977. And here are Dro's top 10 singles for the year 1977. At number 10, I have Dancing Queen by ABBA, written by Bjorn Ulvaeus and Benny Andersson of ABBA. It was conceived as a dance song with the working title Boogaloo. They drew inspiration from the 1974 George McRae disco hit Rock Your Baby, and from the drumming on the 1972 Dr. John album Gumbo. Their manager, Stig Andersson, came up with the title Dancing Queen. For me, this is one of the very best things to come out of disco. It's pure pop perfection, packed with infectious hooks and a beat you can't resist. I've always found the chorus melody very interesting in that it's soaring and anthemic, yet has a slight melancholic touch to it. It is a great pop song that has appeal across the board for most demographics. Really wonderful serving of disco pop perfection. At number 9, I have Year of the Cat by Al Stewart. It's the title track off the 1976 album by Scotland-born singer-songwriter Al Stewart. Originally, the song was titled Foot of the Stage, and it was about a performance by comedian Tony Hancock, who had a meltdown on stage in 1966, talked about being a complete loser and that he should end it all right here, and it drew all these laughs from the audience because they thought he was joking as part of a character. But 2 years later, Hancock actually killed himself with a drug overdose. But years later, Stewart kept the melody and music but ditched the lyrics because he didn't want to profit off another man's suffering, and he changed the lyrical theme of the song. And this is a really great song that is really rich. It's like rich both musically and lyrically. Lyrically, it has this very involved story about a young man and a romantic misadventure that lands him in a much longer stay in a foreign country than he had planned. The story is very engaging. Then musically, it's catchy and laid back. Yet it has these involved musical sections, including this long solo section with solos via strings, acoustic guitar into distorted electric guitar, into synthesizers and saxophone. It's really rich listening experience, and this is a really great song. Number 8 is Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, written by Stevie Nicks for the Rumors album. The basic story of how the song came to be was Nicks took a piano into another studio that belonged to Sly and the Family Stone, which had a black velvet bed with Victorian drapes, and wrote the song. She wasn't sure if the song was good enough, took it to the rest of the band. Christine McVie described the song as having just 3 chords and 1 note in the left hand and boring in the rough version, until Lindsey Buckingham fashioned 3 sections out of identical chords, making each section sound completely different, and the song came together. It's a great song. Dreams is a good title for it because it has a dreamy atmosphere to it. The lyrics are kind of pointed and subtly nasty if you think about what was going on between Nicks and Buckingham at the time of this album, which is like the end of their relationship. But it's layers. It's another layer to the layers of mystical stuff Nicks brings that can be so rich in the process of digesting her songs. It's a really great classic rock gem. Number 7 is Barracuda by Heart, written by Ann and Nancy Wilson with some help from the rest of the band at the time. It was the first single off their second album, Little Queen. Ann Wilson has stated in interviews that the song was about the band's anger towards Mushroom Records, who did a publicity stunt, insinuating that Ann and her sister Nancy were like lesbians involved in a lesbian affair. It's a statement song about the nasty nature of the record industry much of the time. And it's just great kick-ass rock and roll. The galloping, chugging, palm-muted E riff. The anger, the catchiness, it all comes together for some butt-kicking rock and roll goodness. It's a really great classic rock song. Number 6 is Walk This Way by Aerosmith. Written by Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. It's a song about a young man in an epic sexual experience with a promiscuous cheerleader, her sister, and her cousin. Yowza! Holy moly ravioli. It's totally cock rock, so don't pay attention to the lyrics that much. Just rock out to the awesome guitar riffing and the almost rap-style delivery of the vocals with a sing-along chorus. And did I mention guitar rocking? Because it's got awesome guitar rocking. It can't be overstated. Lots of awesome guitar rocking. It's no surprise this works so well. Debatably better, who knows? That's debatable. Years later when refashioned as a rap co-op with Run DMC. It's great riff rock. It's awesome. Number 5, I have Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas. Written by Kerry Livgren. Guitar and keyboard player for Kansas. According to Livgren, the song wasn't written to express anything specifically religious, though it expresses spiritual searching and other ideas. He suggested taking the song as it is, or whatever. Well, what it is awesome. You've got some great catchy melodies and hooks, and then some incredible rock and roll guitar riffing to melt your brain. And the song is epic and ass-kicking all at the same time. If you want to be rocked and rolled, play this song and jam out. It's a great song. Number 4 is Blinded by the Light by the Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Written by Bruce Springsteen but made famous by Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Springsteen has said the song came about going through a dictionary and looking for rhymes. Whatever. The Manfred Mann version replaced Springsteen's Cut Loose Like a Deuce with Revved Up Like a Deuce, which is commonly misunderstood as Wrapped Up Like a Douche. I will say, as a kid and into my early teen years, I always used to get a kick from hearing this song because I thought it said Wrapped Up Like a Douche. And my brother and me, we used to think it was funny, we wanted to hear it for laughs. And of course, later on, you get the lyric or whatever, but more importantly, I came to appreciate the song on musical level. And wow, it's, something, especially the long form of this song. It ventures into psychedelia and speeds up, slows down, has these amazing synthesizer bits and almost space rock bits. And it's just, a true experience for a song. It's very vivid and dynamic production, and it's really fantastic. I don't enjoy the Springsteen version all that much. For me, the Manfred Mann's Earth Band version blows it out of the water, and it's a definitive version of this song. It's a great song. At number 3, I Just Want to Be Your Everything by Andy Gibb. Written by Barry Gibb, the older Gibb. It was the first single off Andy Gibb's debut album, Flowin' Rivers. Although Barry is the only credited writer, it has been said that Andy helped in the writing of the song as a tribute to his recent marriage, which only lasted apparently 2 years or so, before he got with Victoria Principal, sadly. There are disco stylings and trappings in the song, but it also has some cool guitar bits going on. And all in all, this is just, is another thing of pop perfection. The romantic vibe of the verses giving way to this passionate declaration of love so strong that they would die without it in the chorus. It just, sometimes, it just gives me goosebumps, this song. It's an undeniable and incredible pop disco track. A lot of people hate disco and view it as like a negative and throw out the term as like, a derogatory term. But tracks like this show that there are some really quality additions to the pop lexicon from the disco era, and nothing should be generalized and swept away as totally worthless, in my opinion. This song is far from worthless. It's a classic, and it's fantastico. It's fantastico. At number 2 is Hotel California by the Eagles. Written by Don Fielder, Glenn Frey, Don Henley. It's a song about materialism and excesses of American culture, as well as the uneasy balance between art and commerce. It's an epic classic rock track with catchy melodies, unbelievable guitar riffs and solos, especially the amazing harmony guitar work. The lyrics can be interpreted so many different and varied ways. It's very rich, lyrically and imagery and story. There really isn't much I can add to the discussion of this song because most everyone knows the song, and many, many, many people have waxed poetic way better than I can about this song. It's an all-time classic rock song. And finally, my number one, Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac, written by Lindsey Buckingham, is a very angry and nasty message for Stevie Nicks, who he was in the process of splitting up with. While the lyrics and imagery of the song are definitely on the mean and cruel side, the song benefits from it because it just pumps it with this incredible energy and vibe that is so propelling and engaging. Anger is an energy, John Lennon sang, and this song crackles with that. It's catchy, has great guitar lines, great melodies, and it just rocks. When I was younger, the part of the song that always let me down a bit was the guitar solo because I wanted something, more like a flood of notes, to match, the energy of the rest of the song. But as I got older, I came to appreciate more the sort of minimal nature of the guitar solo on the studio version, and really feel, the burst of angular, angry sounding guitar lines, and the solo expresses that angry energy better than like a cascade or flood of notes would have done. It's classic, great rock song, and my number one single of 1977. So, that's my top 10 singles of 1977. Please share your top 10 list for 1977 in the comment section of the YouTube video, or via Twitter, or as comments on the Tumblr page. And that's going to do it for us today, but be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and give likes as well, wink, wink, wink. And follow us on Twitter at Texan Spaniard, and check out our Tumblr at markoutmania.tumblr.com. Thanks for listening, and adios.